Welcome to Tantra Lounge.
Sex Talk Radio.
Divine Kika is a radiant force, overflowing with positive energy, guiding you to a heart-opening, blissful, authentic tantric experience. This show will help you to expand your joy, cultivate more intimacy in your life, and rediscover the pleasure within your personal relationships. Dive in and discover untapped intimacy and true joy for yourself or with your beloved. Bring back the harmony and happiness that you long for. Let's begin an unforgettable journey that will leave an imprint on your heart and soul forever. Welcome to Tantra Lounge Sex Talk Radio. Here's your host, Divine Kika.
Hello Tantra Man. How was your week?
Oh, my week was fantastic. Are you kidding?
I bet Tantra Man is having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been having a really good time this whole week. Some good dates I was on this week. Fantastic. Some really wonderful times with my beloved. And stuff I just can't say on the air, but a really good time.
Great. So the whole dating thing got me excited, and I went in a lot of dates last week, and that was very exciting and fun.
Oh, that's right. Divine Kika might be single now.
I'm not so much on the market anymore.
Okay. Well, hey, it's good to know. Good to know. I have people writing this down at home. Just kidding. Don't call her.
So this week we're going to talk about divorce, breakups, and how to heal from a breakup, how to know if you need a divorce, how to really start over again. And we're going to do a little bit of a relationship checkup if you are in relationship.
Ooh, a relationship checkup.
Yeah, let's see how your relationship is doing.
That sounds good. Can I call you a doctor of love then?
I'm Kika Dr. Love.
That sounds fun. I'm going to come to your office for a relationship checkup. Is that okay?
Yeah, I had a personal trainer that she used to call me Kika Love Strong.
Kika Love Strong.
She said that is my Native American name.
That is good.
Kika Love Strong.
That is really good. Kika Love Strong, the love doctor. Okay. Dr. Love Strong.
Dr. Love Strong. So, if you're single and you want to learn how to avoid a divorce eventually, or to avoid a breakup, or if your heart is not completely open yet and you want to learn ways to open your heart and love again, and if you are in a relationship and you're going, my relationship is not so happy anymore,
right?
What to do,
that
how
happens.
To identify, well, should I leave this relationship? Should I stay? How can I fix it? So those are the things we're going to talk about.
Fantastic.
And for you that just got divorced for the last 2 years and you're still trying to figure it out, your new life, we have tools for you too to learn how to move on from a harsh divorce or
That's
a harsh
right.
breakup.
And these tools are good for people who are just going through breakup as well, heavy breakups after being in a relationship for a long time. These tools are good for that too. Is that true, my dear?
Yeah, now let's think about it. Like, who in the path of love, sexuality, and intimacy haven't been scarred or hurt or felt the disappointment of a relationship that didn't work? The death of love. Because when love dies, all the dreams that you had in the relationships, they die too. And it's interesting. Nobody likes to talk about it, but everybody goes through this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And, it's one of the hardest things that many of us ever do go through. It's just like almost like somebody died, It feels like that. Can.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Lately, I'm getting a lot of clients, especially men, that are going through a divorce. Like, kids went to college. The marriage is not working anymore. They're not satisfied sexually, emotionally, or in any area in the marriage, really. They're just like hanging on to that relationship because the kids are growing and they want to keep that relationship going.
Sure.
And I find it sad that they waited sometimes 10. This is one person that I work with this week, like 20 years of unhappiness.
Oh, my goodness.
And the thing that I really want to bring to the attention of the people that are unhappily married, what is this example that you're setting to your kids if you're staying in a marriage? And then this is going to upset some people here right now, and I know it. But what is the example you're setting to your children if you're choosing to stay in a relationship that you know deep in your heart is not working at all?
Sure. Sure.
And then you're telling your children that when they grow up and if they're unhappy in a relationship, they have to stay.
That's a really big question. That is a really big question. Isn't that something? And, it brings to mind something else. If you're in a relationship that is painful, unhappy, what can you do to make it happy again? Instead of being in it suffering, are there things that you can do to make reparations and make it happy again? And I think that's something we're going to talk about today as well.
Yeah, so they did a lot of studies, and I heard that the kids that understand that the parents, they are happy seeing both parents after a divorce, and if they see that the parent is happy, the mom is happy with herself, daddy is happy with herself, they tend to do better in life than if they stayed in a marriage that were not happy.
Right. Have you ever heard the phrase, if the mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy?
Oh, if the woman is not happy and satisfied, good Lord, help us. Because
But you know what the truth is? If the daddy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy either.
We all know the physical aspects of sex, but we rarely hear of the spiritual side. 10 Tantric Sex Secrets for Greater Sex, Love, and Intimacy Tonight by Divine Kika will bring you extraordinary bliss. This titillating and easy-to-read book will transform your ordinary sex life to breathtaking, amazing, powerful. Great for beginners, let this book be your first step to a happier love life. 10 Tantric Sex Secrets for Greater Sex, Love, and Intimacy Tonight. Available in hard copy, ebook, and audio format at divinekika.com. That's divine, Kika.com.
I'm real excited about your new book, 10 Tantric Sex Secrets. And it's really beautiful that you came out with this, and so I'm hoping that everybody can find it and read what she's written here and take a great start to your own tantric journey and take a look at this sweet book. It's a great little pamphlet. It's easy to read, and Kika's just wonderful.
So, here's the deal. Do you remember being a kid and having your father come home angry and being afraid?
well, I remember I have a lot of weird memories from my childhood, like we talked in the last show.
I bet we all
And
have
then one of the things that, I saw my mom and dad fighting a lot. And that was the most unhealthy thing that it took me years to heal from those visions and to understand that I deserve to have a happy relationships.
Spit it out.
So, yeah. And one of the things that really make me really happy last week, it's like I told my son, because I ended a year relationship, and I'm telling my son, well, mommy's, dating, and I'll have a boyfriend sometime. I don't know when, until I'm happy. And he
how
goes,
about that?
And my 13-year-old turned to me, and he's being so amazing that way, because he listens to my classes and stuff, and so he knows the stuff I talk about. And he told me, Mom, as long as you're happy, I support you 100%. If you stay in relationship or you're not, but I want you to be happy. And that touched me very deeply. He's only 13, and he gets that.
Of course he does. Here's a young man who's going to come into the world with an attitude about relationships and sexuality that is unprecedented for someone his age. And isn't that a healthy, beautiful thing? And what will he bring to his relationships? So if we set good examples for our kids, this is an example of setting a good example. If we set an example for our kids about being in our truth and being happy and getting happy, even if it means changing out of a relationship and getting strong again, we're setting a good example for our kids about how to be a whole, powerful human being.
Exactly. So we made a point about, if you're in a marriage just for your kids, I invite you to read researches about how do the kids do after a divorce, if it's better for them than stay in a bad relationship. Do your own research. You're going to be surprised what are you going to find.
Divorce rates in the Silicon Valley are going to skyrocket after our show.
Oh, tell me about it.
Just kidding.
Well, okay.
There's more. There's happy stuff too, folks.
Well, now, I'm coaching some couples right now, and I can tell when it's going to work or not. Unfortunately, I can tell. It's like they come in the office, and I look at the both, and I see the way they communicate, the body language with each other, how they're doing it. And I can tell, well, just a couple tweaks, and these two are going to be just fine.
Wait, a couple Twix? Like Twix bars?
Just squeeze them a little bit here and a little bit in there.
A couple of tweaks.
Tweaks.
Oh, got it.
Tweak.
In that crazy Brazilian accent. I love it.
I'm sorry.
A couple of tweaks. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then they're going to be fine.
Okay.
And well, and then there's some couples that come in and I go, oh God, this is not
It's not going to be an easy one, huh?
ideal.
Oh.
We can try,
Uh-huh.
but I kind of know.
Really?
It's kind of like they're trying so hard to work with something that it could be just, okay, you guys have nothing to do with each other anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
And you're trying so hard, and I don't see the point here. And I still work with them, and then they have, and a lot of times couples come where they need a divorce, and they're ready to let go, and I can help them to do this route where they can have an harmonious divorce. And I'm one
Wow.
of those lucky people. And I would say not lucky. I use all that I know to create that amazing divorce that I had, because I can say that I had a harmonious divorce. And if you want to read about my divorce, I wrote pages and pages about it at that time. And if you go to my blog and you just like Kika's Harmonious Divorce, I think that's what I'll call. And then I invite you to read that blog if you're interested in that. But it's possible to create a win-win separation, a win-win where both partners and the kids are all getting their needs met and everybody gets out feeling the support. Because here is this person that I loved, honored, and shared family for so many years. And then we share this beautiful, deep love. And then we move on. How about if we could move on being family? Caring for each other, loving each other, really supporting each other to grow and be the best we can be. Because you were in my life for so long. How can I not be there for you? And doesn't mean we have to continue making love. Doesn't mean that we have to control each other. None of that. But can we support each other and create a win-win in a divorce? And I think that's the most important thing, that when people think about the divorce, they're creating a win-win.
Absolutely. You're listening to Tantra Lounge Sex Talk Radio with Divine Kika, and we're talking about divorce and breaking up today and all sorts of topics surrounding that. Kika, you were just talking about ways of going through a divorce in a way that supports the whole community, in a sense, that when you leave a relationship, when you go through a divorce, that can be a very healthy thing as well, the most healthy thing you can do for your family, especially if it's handled in a way that is balanced and loving.
Yes. And I'm very happy to say that pretty much 95% of my exes, I'm friends with them.
Right.
We are there for each other.
Why
we
not?
have a great relationship, friendship. And I still can go to my ex-husband's house at any time, and I sit on his desk and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Not beside on the chair. I sit on his desk, and he's typing his computer, and we have that kind of connection that he's kind of like my brother now.
Yeah, you know
and
what?
we can talk about anything,
I know
and we
people who
support
have
each
cats
other.
that do that. They sit right on the keyboard. There's no possibility of getting any work done. I'm sure your ex-husband's like, yeah, would you please just get off of my desk?
No, we actually talk about our son, and we talk about, he likes to ask me how to cook better, and I ask him how to fix my computer still. And,
Sure.
And of course, he's not going to come over and fix my computer all the time, and I'm not going to come over and cook for him anymore. But we are supporting each other to live better and supporting each other to be great parents.
Can I ask you some questions about that? That's really, really interesting to me. I mean, how did you come to the conclusion that that was going to work for you? And what are some of the things that you set in motion for yourself in order to go through that breakup, that divorce, and have it be such a positive thing?
Well, it took me a while to accept that I was going to go divorce, because for me, being a relationship coach, I thought that I had to make that relationship work no matter what.
Right? That's some pressure.
And that was a lot of work on my side. And then when I finally saw, okay, this is really not what I want for my life. That's not how I envision my life to be. And it's not for my greatest good here or for anybody else, because I'm not happy here, and I'm going to continue being resentful, and that's going to affect everybody in the home.
Right.
And so
you
there
made
was
that
a process
choice.
where I had to, and then this process is what I invite you to do if you are in a relationship, is to start to look at all the things that you're not happy about the relationship. Now, look, if your wife or your husband pick on their nose, oh, I hate that she picks on their nose all the time. Right? That's not what it is about. Oh, I'm not happy that in my relationship, I'm not heard as much as I would like. I don't have the intimacy that I long for. Or
Sure.
our sexual life is not as satisfying. And I already try to make it satisfying, but I can't find a way to make it work. And my partner is reluctant to make a change. I think when your partner tell you, I'm not going to change, take as is, then it's the nail in the coffin and you got to go.
Wow. When they say they're not willing to change.
They're not willing to change. And if you're not happy, I
Right.
gave a long pause here because if you are there and if you're in that situation, you're going to think about it. Or your partner can say, well, we are not doing well, but can we try to make it better? What is the things that we can? So here is what I'm not liking. Here is what's not working for me. So other than come and tell your, well, I'm not happy with your sexual life and I'm very unsatisfied here and it's not working.
Sure.
Well, that's not helping anything because you're not leaving, you're not allowing your partner to make any change. You're just complaining and blaming.
Right.
So I invite you to whatever truth that you come to find out about yourself. First, find what is that you want for yourself in a relationship. Then see what you want in this relationship you're in and the possibility of change.
So this reminds me a bit of what you talked about last week in terms of, you said you had this 82-item list, I think it was, of things that...
My unicorn list.
Sure, yeah, what you want in a mate. And now you're also talking about that in addition to the things in a relationship that aren't working, the relationship that you are in. Is that a sort of like, so you can
yeah.
compare, left to right, saying, hey, on this hand, these are the things that I want. These are the things I'm not getting.
So a big thing, for example, like if I'm not able to trust my partner, we need to talk about it. And I cannot just say, hey, I don't trust you anymore. Well, here are the things that would help me to trust you. Would you be willing to do these things?
Sure.
You need to have enough clarity and know yourself enough that, well, if you're going to come home late and then if you call me and tell me where you're going to be, or if we have this connection where I know your intention is to be my beloved and be there for me and that I trust you, that will shift things if I know their intention. But when those conversations, what happen is in marriage, we're so busy and our life goes so busy all the time that we don't talk about things and we create these resentments that start building up. So clearing resentments is speaking your truth is one of the most powerful tools in relationship today. So how do you do that? Clear your resentment. Oh, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with it. So deal with it with yourself first. Don't start by yelling at your partner or complaining to your partner about what not works, what is not working for you. So come in there and say, well, this is not working for me. Maybe you need to write for a while and see what is not really working for you and how would you like to be different and what can you do to make it different first.
Right.
And then put that in place.
It's an important question.
And then invite your partner to do something too, but in a loving way. As I give you a very quick example.
All right.
For example, the toilet seat, right?
Let's talk about it.
So in my previous relationship, my boyfriend would lift the toilet seat open and it's
Now,
like
can I ask
the
a
whole
question?
thing was ruined.
I get confused about this. Now, when ladies have said to me in the past, don't leave the toilet seat up, do they mean the lid or the seat? Because, I feel like I'm doing them a
Both.
favor.
It's
The
a
whole thing?
problem. It's a problem.
So if he lifts the whole thing up, exposed porcelain, we're talking about exposed porcelain here, and he goes pee into the exposed porcelain portion of the toilet. Sorry, I know this is explicit.
Tantra man is going beyond the toilet
I just
seat,
want to
the
know.
temple.
I just want to know.
Stretching it. You're
Is the-
stretching the toilet seat.
I just want to know. This is personal information that will help my relationship.
So here's the point. The toilet seat up would make me feel separation. I would feel disconnected from him after making love instead of me feeling close to him after making love. So I could complain about the toilet seat being up or down as much as I wanted if he didn't understand that I wanted, that my desire is to connect with you and that action creates separation. It would be such a simple thing for him to do. So instead of saying, well, I feel a little bit separated when that happens. It kind of like takes away from our magic. And I so enjoy making love with you and staying together after. It would be so loving if we could have that and keep it sacred. Then he understood. But if I was most ladies would say, oh, just put the toilet seat down. Why don't you do that? That wouldn't create connection, would it? So your communication is either creating connection or creating separation. So you need to be a little bit smarter in the way you connect and talk.
Hey, I want to Scrabble challenge you on something here.
Just
now
leave
you
the
said
toilet seat
you
alone,
said
would you?
well, I'm not going to talk about that anymore.
Oh,
I
thank
learned
God.
my lesson. But the deal is this: you said that most women might say, oh, "No, you didn't put the toilet seat down." They would just say it. First of all, they wouldn't sound like that. But I think that most women, in my experience, would be quiet about it and
That's
then just
true.
resent me.
Forever, yeah. And then they would not want to make love with you later, but they wouldn't tell you
I
why.
wouldn't know why. I have no idea.
And they wouldn't tell you.
No.
No. But I'm saying, most people, they instead of asking for things nicely or saying why they want them, they just complain about it and
Sure.
don't make. That's more blaming and shaming than making a clear request.
I read something really interesting. It was actually another possibility here for creating connection. It talks about how to improve your marriage without talking about it. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting title of a...
Tell me more.
Well, yeah. So, how to improve your marriage without talking about it. Well,
Tantra Man is about to teach something really,
sure, why
really
not?
powerful.
Who knows?
Without talking. What do we do, hump each other?
Well, that's a good option. Now, this woman's name was Barbara, I can't even read it. Barbara Graham. Right. This was on Oprah, Oprah.com, in fact.
Oh, interesting.
Anyway, how to improve your marriage without talking about it. To summarize, she basically said that there are ways that you can give positive reinforcement to your partner. A woman could give positive reinforcement to her partner about something that bothers her. The example she used was throwing a wet towel on the bed, which is actually something I'm guilty of. Sorry, sweetie. And, she goes on to say that if she was to say, hey, I don't like it when you do that, would you do something different? That all he's going to hear is wow, 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 the complaining, and it's not actually going to create a change. It might just create a fight, or as you said, create separation. So what she suggested was to say, I really love the way that you hang the towel up for me.
Whoa, yeah, that's beautiful.
And she says it on the other side, and that doesn't create an argument. It just makes him go, oh, yeah, and the next time he's throwing the towel on the bed, he goes, no, she loves it when I hang the towel up.
That's how you train dogs, isn't it?
Hey, that's fine. I'll admit it, And I am wearing a dog collar right now. Just kidding.
I'm sorry. It just occurred to me.
Anyhow, so if you want to, folks, so check it out. You can type in how to improve your marriage without talking about it. A very good article.
Yeah, I love that way. And I use that a lot in my relationships, and it really works. Like in emphasizing what works and in the good behaviors. And, and just like we do with children, we say, it's not you that I don't love. Is this behavior bother me?
Right.
It makes a huge difference because it's not. Tantra Man is scratching himself like a dog right now.
Oh, sorry.
So, I would like to talk about the relationship checkup.
Oh,
How
yeah.
do I know? How do I know? So, you got a pen and a paper if you're in a relationship and you want to make sure that it's working or it's not.
Good. Am I going to get a shot?
No, nobody's going to shoot you today.
No, not with a gun. I mean, forget it. Never mind. So I was going back to the doctor joke. It's over.
So, relationship checkup. Know if it's the right thing to break up or stay together. So, I invite you to think about how do you two get along as roommates? And give a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and 0 being the smallest. So
How well do you get along being roommates?
Exactly.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh-huh.
How well do you get along sexually as lovers? How well do you get along as friends?
How well do you get along as friends?
How well do you get along? How do you do as financial partners? How's your finances together? Did that work? And finally, how is your friendship? How are you as parents? How do you relate with your family overall? How's your relationships with the family? Are you two relating well with both families? And how is your freedom? Do you have enough freedom to fully express who you are and be all that you want to be with yourself?
That's
Does
a big
this
one.
relationship support you as human being?
Right. That's such an important question in the world of
Yes.
Tantra, especially, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And another thing, like, how's your health in this relationship? Is this relationship making you a healthier person? Are you having time to exercise? Are you eating well? Is this relationship supporting your goals on that? And your dreams, the dreams that you had before entering the relationship, how are they? Are they alive still? They die? They change?
Oh,
Do
sure.
you two have dreams together and goals together that you're going towards? Are you going away from your goals, or are you going towards your goals? And then make another list, and you might want to ask your partner, how do you think we're doing as roommates? How do you think we're doing as friends? And go through the list with your partner,
Okay.
and then compare notes.
Interesting.
Because it could be that for me, it's sometimes I've seen a lot of couples. It's very interesting. One couple will say, "Oh, we are great parenting together," and they go to one, "No, this is a 3 for me," and she's going, "This is a 10." Or how do we do as lovers? The girl will say, "Wow, I think we are a 10," and the guy will say, "Oh, we are a 2, honey."
Wow.
And it's very interesting when you ask your partner, how is that different? And if you are committed to be honest to each other in that is really powerful to understand where the relationship is at.
You've been listening to Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio with Divine Kika. And today we're talking about divorce and breaking up and many of the tools to, 1, avoid it, or 2, get things going a little bit better so that your relationship can be happy again. Kika, you were just talking about the relationship checkup, and I thought that was pretty amazing. This whole
It's
idea,
simple.
yeah, it's a really
So
simple
simple.
thing. So if you were tuning into that, and you've made your list to compare notes with your partner and just kind of get a sense of where you both stand, this way you can have a conversation about those things.
Yeah, and one of the rules that I go by, it's like I can have many people in my life, like the people that work with me, the people that I'm working with, the people that I'm support, the kids that I teach yoga to, whatever, the people that are in my life. One of the questions that I ask myself all the time is my presence in this person's world making the world in general better? Is their presence in my life making my world and the world better?
Wow.
And if we look at relationships from that angle, then it's a way better way to look at the relationship. Then you really know. Because if you are present in somebody's life and you feel like they're not welcoming you, they're not happy with you there, they're always complaining, something is off.
Sure. That's another really excellent gauge.
Mm-hmm.
This brings to mind something. We're talking about communication, essentially. When you talk about your checkup, you're talking about that, creating an opportunity to see where you are at and see where your partner's at and talk about it. And I saw yet another article called 10 Reasons Why Divorce Happens.
Oh, tell me.
All right.
Tell me, what are the reasons?
All right. Well, this was written by a lawyer, which I thought was
that's
really
good.
interesting.
That's just his stuff. Bring
thank
it on.
you very much, lawyers. Anyhow,
I know.
well, the very first one on the list, what do you think it is?
Communication.
It's communication. Ding, 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 ding. It's
Financial?
communication. The second one is finances. That's
Yeah.
right. The third one, come on.
Sex.
No, well, not on
No?
this list, but hey, maybe that's cool. The third one on the the third
Sorry.
one on this list, it's fine. We can talk about that too. Feeling constrained, and maybe that is about sex.
No, it's-
it
tell
says
me more about
you
the
may
feeling constrained.
feel your marriage is holding you back from achieving goals and taking opportunities. If your partner can't support you, then they don't support the marriage.
Well, and then again, like, it's going back to that, are you following your dreams? What do you want in your life? Is this relationship holding you back? That's a great point.
Right. Absolutely.
And then that will make someone resentful in the relationship and pull back and sabotage the relationship.
Oh, yeah. And it's tough. I mean, I think that a lot of times we love each other, and that's why we aren't talking, which seems so counterproductive. I mean, it really is counterproductive. I'll talk about myself for a moment.
Tell me more.
I'll tell you something that's true. And I think I touched on this before. You're going to learn all about my personal problems. At the end of the 6 months, I hope that a psychotherapist calls me and tells me what all my problems are. Anyway.
There would be a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, this is all, it's like I'm learning a lot about myself. Is this, when I care about somebody deeply and I'm upset what do? I get quiet. I don't talk about it because I don't want to upset that person because I care too much about them and I don't want to argue.
And then later you don't want to make love because you're upset.
Well, sure, I don't want to make love. There's a lot of things I don't want to do. I don't want to take the towel off the bed. And I'm definitely not putting the toilet seat down.
Well, and how are you that are listening right now sabotaging your relationship? What are the ways? I want you to come up with a list because we know the stuff we do when we are sabotaging quietly.
Sure.
Quietly. It's so subtle.
I know.
It's so subtle.
Well,
I spill your coffee.
You know what
Sorry.
You know what number 4 on the
Sorry.
list is? Number 4 on this list of the 10 reasons why divorce happens is trust. And it says, do you really trust your spouse? Trust is one of the leading factors in having successful relationships in marriage. Your marriage is unlikely to survive if you don't trust your spouse. Well, duh.
And how do you build trust? What are the actions and how can you really trust one another is when we know. For me, it's like I need to know my partner intentions with me and intentions with the relationship and intentions with his life.
Absolutely.
Because if he slip off and do something wrong, not wanting to, I know that his intention is to love me. His intention is to be good for me. So he might, for a moment, forgot how or didn't. We do mistakes.
Of course.
But if that intention is loud and clear and I really understood that, it makes a big difference.
I see.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, we all have expectations. We go into relationships with expectations. There's this idea of unconditional love, which I think is so beautiful. It's so lovely, this whole idea of unconditional love. Sure, it's wonderful. But I also think sometimes it's a fantasy because when I go into love someone, and I'm giving someone my love, I go into love with some expectations, and I'm not going to fool it. I'm fooling myself if I say I don't have those. And some of those expectations might be that you're trustworthy. And if I'm going to be lied to all the time, you know what? I might stop loving you. That's conditional.
Yeah, it's true. And then when we expect too much from our partner, it's also a red flag, right? We don't want to. Of course, we say we don't want to expect anything, but we have that point that we know what is because we had our conversations about boundaries, desires, intentions.
That's right.
Remember?
Yeah, from last week's show. Tune into that.
Yeah, if you don't know about it, I invite you to hear last show because we talk about boundaries, desires, and intentions and how did that. So if I'm not sure what's going on, I can always reset that conversation. What is your intentions in these relationships? What are the boundaries that I need to honor so you don't resent me, so you don't sabotage the relationship, so you can trust me?
Of course.
Right? If you yell at me, I'm not going to be willing to trust you or respect you. So that comes to, expectations, maybe not so much, but knowing the intentions, knowing the boundaries, knowing the desires. And
fair enough.
Have a dream together.
Expectations is a very loaded word. It sounds very inflexible.
It's heavy.
So intentions, I am more comfortable with that notion anyway. So I don't know how to reframe that for myself, but I do have intentions. I do have things that I desire from my partners in my life. Is it safer, maybe more healthy to say it that way, more flexible?
What do you desire for yourself? Isn't that more important to know what is that you want for yourself and what you can do about it and let your partner to be free to do whatever they want? And then if you do have agreements about something, then expect that your partner will honor the agreement. And if they don't honor the agreement, you can call them off on not honoring the agreements you had. But expecting somebody to do something without talking about it, it's big red flag.
You are very wise, Master Tantra teacher.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Oh, man.
Helene Rothschild, which is an amazing therapist. She's over 70 years old, and she knows so much. I love that woman. Her work is amazing. And she made a letter for a partner. And I would love to read it because this letter really sets the tone for a healthy relationship.
Bring it on.
So, dear loving partner, please trust me and respect me. Then I will feel good when I'm with you. Keep your agreements and tell me the truth. Then I can trust you. Communicate clearly your thoughts and feelings. Then I will know what you want and need. Listen to me. Then I will feel heard and want to communicate with you. Keep clearing your resentments. Then we can continue to feel close and loving. Take responsibility for all your feelings and behaviors. Then you won't blame me and we will have more harmony. Release your anger constructively and then tell me calmly what you are angry, hurt, frightened about. Then we can resolve the issue and we both feel good.
Right. Right.
Help me to solve the problems with win-win solutions. Then we can maintain a healthy relationship. Be patient with me and forgive me when I make mistakes. Then that will help me to feel okay and even when I'm blunder. Allow me time to rest when I come home from work. Then I will unwind from the day and be able to be there for you. Thank you for loving me. I love you.
That is really something. Wow. How touching. Helene Rothschild. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she's amazing. So I want to help me to solve the problems with win-win solutions. So when we look at problems in the relationship, I invite you to see your partner. So how can I create a win for my partner that my partner is happy too with this, and release anger constructively. So most of people, they talk about problems blaming and shaming. So how
Right.
can you own your mistakes, own your faults? Say, I did it wrong and I want to fix it, or just simply own it.
I see.
People that can own their mistakes, I find it so beautiful when somebody, I find men very attractive when they can own their mistakes, because that let me know that he wants to do it better. If he never owns a mistake, I'll run.
I'm sorry. That was my fault.
He got it. Tantra, man, I'm in love.
My father, now I'm going to speak some very poor Russian because this is a third party translation. He said, I think, "Sujil yavam saborka." So those of you who speak Russian, please correct me. He said, that is the most important phrase you can speak to your partner. And I said, what does it mean, Dad? He says, it means something to the effect of, sorry, Russians out there, Russian speakers out there. I'm sorry, honey, I'm wrong. Something like that. You're right, I'm wrong.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Yeah,
Right.
and that's and then how can I make it better? This is just saying I'm sorry, I'm wrong doesn't fix it. But here is how I suggest that we do not want, so I can do it better. I want to do better, and then stating that intention.
That's the next step, isn't it?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, and then the resentments when they are not clear. So here, let's say something last week. Let's say I see it all the time. So couple goes to dinner, and then the man sees this beautiful woman walking in. He looks at her and he starts staring, and she's even with another man, but he stares at her so much. And then the wife
Creep.
ends up in my they end up in my office.
All right,
somehow.
not a creep.
Huh?
Nothing. I said he's not a creep. He has a bad habit.
I see it all the time. Even when I'm alone, like the men are looking at me, and they are with their wives. The wife starts looking mad at me. I didn't do anything. I'm just walking in the street.
Right?
It's like a comic
You
thing.
can't
I'm
help
like,
it if you're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Tantra Man.
You're welcome.
So going back to the issue. So then she feels closed down and she doesn't want to make love, and she pulls away from the relationship. And there she is, resentful, and she didn't clear that resentment. So how could she say, she could come home, right then and then she could say, I'm here with you and I would love if you look at me that way. And if you put your attention in me tonight because I'm here. And if she comes around and say, it doesn't feel good when you look so much to another woman. Now, if he just did a little look, it's okay, ladies. Don't freak out with that. Let your man be a man. Man needs to be a predator. Don't take me wrong.
A predator. Oh.
But you gotta be discreet, guys. Come on.
Be a gentleman.
Yeah, be discreet.
Have some class.
Yes, that's beautiful people. And then we as a woman, sometimes we look too, but we're very discreet about it.
Right.
And you're never going to know. But guys are like,
I know, it's so sad.
So I'm not saying do not look, do not feel. Feel the desire. Take her beauty in, but honor the person you are with. No, lady, going back to that. So it feels so good when you look at me. I really want to feel your love to me, your desire to me right now. I invite you to put your attention back to me.
Mm.
And I'm a little sad that you are looking so long for that woman, but I'm willing, I just need you to look at me right now. And if she did that right there and then, things would change right away. But the thing is, like, most of us are not aware enough to ask for what we want. Because when we are upset, there is a need that hasn't been met.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, she was needing to feel respected,
Sure.
loved, and seen.
Right.
Yeah?
You know what? I think that if my partner were to look at me and say, "I love it when you look at me like that," and said that with some love in her heart, or gave me a smile when she said it, I would just go, "Oh yeah." I would just turn and look at her and say, "You are so beautiful, sweetheart. You are so beautiful."
And then the whole situation is done.
It's
There is no
turned
situation.
right around. That woman just faded away into. She's gone.
Of course.
Now I'm just right here with you.
Right. And she doesn't even need to say that she was upset at that. But sometimes, sometimes the upset is so big that needs to be said.
We need to discuss these things. It's important to talk about your feelings. If you're feeling hurt, sometimes you need to address it. But, if it's a matter of trying to get your needs met, how long do you want to spiral into talking about being upset? Because you can discuss that little upset for the next 3 years if you want to.
She can have the whole dinner talking about how upset she was about the 2 minutes of something happened, or create a solution. And then
you know what?
again,
Last week I was heading home and I was at a stoplight, and across the street there's this woman and she's walking her dog. Long legs.
Tantra man goes.
Long. Hey, just let me tell my little story. This beautiful woman, long legs, walking her dog, and I'm appreciating her.
Long legs.
Walking down the
walking
street,
dog.
and she's wearing shorts. Anyway, beautiful.
Then the dog will
Well,
come.
hold on. There's more. Coming the opposite direction is a couple holding hands. This is a true story. And as they're passing her by,
I
the
can see what
man
happened.
glanced at her. I didn't even see him turn his head. He just glanced at her. They walked about 8 more feet, and the girl he was with folded her arms, put her hands on her chest, and stopped and just looked down in a pout. And he stopped and turned and looked back at her, and then she looks at him and just grabs his face.
Oh, really?
And then turns his face forward, and then
Oh my God, that's a movie scene.
and then they continued walking down the street, and he's just looking down. And I thought,
That's great.
on the
That's
one
a great
hand,
illustration.
I laughed. I laughed out loud in my car. But then I also felt really bad for the guy because I thought, he was being discreet. I don't know this couple's history. Whatever. Maybe he does that every day, and she's just like, I can't take it anymore. But
Stop it already.
ladies, allow your man to have some feelings. And be alive sexually and be alive.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, the man has this natural predator, and then when we domesticate them, as a woman, we have a tendency to domesticate our man and make them be what we want them to be, and later on we go, wow, this guy's so boring now.
Why
It's
doesn't he
true.
look at me anymore? Well, because you trained him not to.
And if you let your man be a man, doesn't mean let him go around and be a dog, but let him feel, and you feel. And then we're both alive, and then that aliveness, that excitement comes to us in our sexuality,
Oh,
in our
yeah.
love.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can celebrate our love. And then another thing, a great thermometer to know if the relationship works or not.
What's that?
Although a lot of relationships last, bad relationships last because of good sex. That's a sad thing, but it's true. It's very true. Bad relationships last because of good sex. However, point made. One of the points that it's also true is that when a couple is truly in love, and if they're celebrating their relationship, they're making love more, and they're happy with their making love.
Oh, yeah.
That's when we are celebrating the love, and the relationship is better. So that's a big thermometer, how much you're making love, how the relationship is. And some people choose to shut down their sexual energy, and then it's not okay with their partner. And then they think, oh, but we get along just fine. But somebody is not happy in there. Because if we're shutting down our life force energy, and as we age, we don't want so much sex. Well, not for women at my age, and that's not true. I'm 40. Ladies at 40, we are more alive than ever, and we all know it. And then for men, like around 55, they start to lower their testosterone, and then the sexual needs they have less sexual needs then, but some men at that age is still pretty active. So it's all mental. It's all how you work it with your mind and have those hormones awaken again and continue being sexual. But if you are in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, and you say, well, I don't need sex in my relationship, I invite you to look it over. Something's not all right. If you say, oh, we don't mind that we don't have sex. Really?
Right.
Really?
What are you missing out on?
Really? I don't believe in it.
It's like a wheel. I think there's multiple points of things that are important to us on that wheel. And if any one point is really out of balance, either too high or too low, the wheel is going to have a bump in it, as it turns.
Big bump,
right?
in this case.
As it turns. And when it comes to sexuality, that is a major spoke on the wheel. And if you're either all about sex, too much about sex, your wheel's going to jump every turn. Or, if it's a big pit in the tire, you're going to feel that too. So I'm right there with you, Kika. I agree.
And there is those healthy hormones that make us so happy and fulfill. Oxytocin is a great, great, great drug. Oh, yeah.
Our body produces it just for us to feel good.
The more we have pleasure, that we expend the sensations in our body, the more our psyche feels better, our energy is better, we're more alive, we're more loving, we're more happier overall. So we can't deny that from ourselves.
Absolutely. What's one of the very best things for my relationships is when I make a habit of every morning hugging my partner. And I hug her for 20 seconds because I read that 20 seconds of hugging releases oxytocin. If you hold each other for 20 seconds, thinking about nothing but holding your partner, that at the end of that 20 seconds, you get a rush and release of oxytocin that actually creates more love, like chemically, for you.
And then the smelling your partner, the pheromones and all of that.
Being close in that way.
Yeah, that creates that gives the good brain chemicals in a relationship. So when you smell your partner and when you exchange fluids with your partner, and then the love and the harmony expands in the relationship as well. So exchange fluids.
You've been listening to Tantra Lounge Sex Talk Radio with Divine Kika, and we've been talking about divorce and breakups and ways of knowing when it's time to break up, knowing when it's time to try and fix your relationship, and some of the best tools available to you to keep that relationship happy and thriving.
And if you're single, how to avoid a breakup, how to heal from a breakup, and how to avoid a divorce later on.
Just avoid marriage. I don't know. That's me.
Tantra man in dog mode.
I'd not be. All right, whatever. I don't even know what to say now.
Just bark.
Hey, do you have that infomercial? What's it called? Infographic, not infomercial. That
I'm
infographic.
looking at it right now.
Divorce in America.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about Tantra Man?
I don't know. We can go right down the list. It says here just about 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Is that true?
Yeah.
Man, that's staggering.
So we are there in the altar. We look at each other. Hey, hon, it's a 50-50. Let's do it.
I know. How about this? You're standing at the altar, and when the pastor, reverend, whoever, justice of the peace says, do you take this woman or do you take this man? You get out a coin and you flip it.
It's a 50-50.
You say, call it in the air, sweetie. Tails. Oh, all right. Nope.
So, yeah, it's a sad reality.
Yeah. We
that
joke.
half of the marriages end, and I think it ends because we don't have enough tools of how to make it work. It's
Right.
not something. I think we should have relationship education in schools and sexual education, like real sexual education in schools, because people are not educated in those two things. And what is the most important thing in our lives than our relationships?
Hi, I'm Divine Kika. I'm here to invite you to my new radio show, this and every Saturday at midnight, to inspire you to create loving, happy, fulfilling relationships in your life and have the best sex ever. I'll teach you tantric sex secrets never known before to spice your life and to give you greater joy. Join me this and every Saturday at midnight. Divine Kika Tantra Lounge Sex Talk Radio. For more information, go to divinekika.com.
Right.
Well, we need to be healthy and financially stable and all of that too, but our relationships really set the tone of our lives.
For sure. Kika, you talk about having private coaching and things like that, when people come and they talk to you about getting a divorce, do you find more times than not that you're able to help people work through their issues?
Well,
I don't know.
that depends on the couple. Some couples I can tell they're ready to divorce, and then we work towards a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we work towards a happy together and connecting, and sometimes there's big issues that have to be removed and resentments that need to be clear and start over. And some couples start over in such a beautiful way that they're more in love than they ever been. And some couples are happier separated, and it's really it's every situation is so different. I love when I go to my retreats with couples. Like I recently was in Hawaii, and these couples that they're having like all kinds of issues. They don't know how to communicate, and they're making love. And so I spend 36 hours with these people, and I'm looking the way they eat together, the way they sit together, the way they communicate, the way they relate to themselves. And so I'm able to do a completely transformation in the relationship. And like I
Wow.
arrive Friday, and then when I leave on Monday morning, to see they're like hugging and they're alive and they're happy again, I have goosebumps right now. It's something that I feel very privileged to do, because it's such a gift to me to see the couples connecting that way and coming back to love. And I know that love goes back to when they come home to their children, to their parents, to the people they work with. It just expands everywhere because they're happy with each other. It's such a beautiful gift to me. But, has been times that the couple is really ready to divorce, and then we work into creating that harmonious divorce. But more than ever, I think when I do those transformational retreats, it's really beautiful.
I understand that you do one-day retreat getaways. I've heard of your weekend retreat getaways, and even entire week.
Yeah. I love
Things.
it. I get to go to paradise with people.
Wonderful. So you've been to
And
Hawaii.
Tahiti and like Brazil and
Wow.
all over the world, really, and Venice, which
If
is a beautiful
someone-
place to go.
Oh, Venice.
Yeah, and Tuscany, and there's so many places we can go. But the point I want to make here is that relationships can be transformed. Relationships can come to a bad place and come to a really good place if you're willing to look into how we make it better, instead of blaming and shaming our partner.
Right.
And knowing what is my part. How can I make it better myself? Now, I'm looking at this data that you gave me here, Tantra Man.
Uh-huh.
And 6,646 divorces for a day in America?
Yep,
No,
that's right,
and
per
it's
day.
46,523 divorces per week? Holy moly. In America, there is one divorce every 13 seconds. Okay,
Someone's
top
getting
5
divorced right
reasons.
now.
Right, that was 13 seconds. So, top 5 reasons why people get divorced. Survey says poor communication, finances, abuse, no longer attracted to one another,
Aw.
infidelity.
Oh, infidelity. Boy.
So now, I want to talk about transitions in relationships, which I have seen a lot. And it's something that we didn't bring to. And sometimes a couple is happy monogamous. And sometimes they're not happy monogamous anymore. And they are like, they're both 50 years old and they feel like they didn't flirt enough with other people. They didn't explore their life. And then we do this work where they transition into a polyamorous relationship.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they're still loving one another and honoring one another. And they can move through this new kind of relating, is still loving each other. And then they awake for a whole new way of being.
Wow. That's a really huge topic. Polyamory is a huge topic.
Well, yeah, that would avoid infidelity.
Maybe
because
that
they
should be a
can tell.
future show.
Another thing is like if they can rekindle the passion and the love and make love more and find the ways to rekindle that love making and just getting that passion back, that fixes. Making love addresses so many of our needs. Being understood, seen, loved, wanted, desire, feeling good about ourselves. It's like feeds so many needs of a human being. So that's a really powerful thing. And sometimes the relationship can transition into a friendship. You don't have to be your spouse's enemy. If you choose to no longer be in a romantic relationship, you can simply transition into a friendship. It doesn't have to be a breakup. We are transitioning to a different way of relating. And
Right.
that can happen too.
You've been listening to Tantra Lounge Sex Talk Radio with Divine Kika. Kika, this has been an amazing show. Talking about divorce, talking about breaking up. Oh my
We can
gosh.
talk about it forever.
It's a huge topic. You know, it's a lot to try and fit into an hour, but I really feel like we've touched on some really good ideas about how to do it in a healthy way if you're going to go through a breakup, or some ideas about how did you put it?
Transition.
Transition.
Yeah. So I would love to hear your comments, questions. If I say something that really triggered you and you're mad at me, let me know. And if you love something that I said, let me know. And if you want to ask a question to me, I would be more than happy to respond to your email. You can email us at
You can email us at tantralounge@divinekika.com, and you can also go to our Facebook page and leave comments at facebook.com/divinekika.
Yeah, and we are looking forward to your comments. And thank you so much for listening. And I invite you to breathe deeply, enjoy each breath, and live life with passion.
Divine Kika, it is such a blessing to know you, and I really look forward to doing this show again with you next week, Saturday night. Is that right?
Yes.
That's it? Just yes?
Yes. I see you again Saturday at midnight.
All right, that's better. That'll do it. Next week, Saturday night, Tantra Lounge, Sex Talk Radio.